Hey guys, Autumn here, and this will be my first time making a video like this. I got a camera and a mic set up, not the greatest, but we're gonna work with it. So, today I wanted to make a video that I don't see a lot on YouTube, and that's how to utilize the Ultimate Training Mod Pack. Now, there are very many ways to utilize this, using the hitbox cues for spacing, stuff like that, using stuff such as the DI influence to make it to where your opponent DI a certain direction so you can practice true combos. But there are a few other things that I'd like to talk about. And these are just ways that using these in line with your personal experience, whether it be from a tournament or going against an opponent enough, how to actually kind of formulate your own ways of practicing. Now, don't get me wrong, you can always use DI to kind of strengthen your combos, but making your own setups is more or less what I'm focusing on today. So, let's say that I'm an Ike player, right? And I went against a Pikachu recently. And their whole thing was they were really good about getting off of ledge, right? Pikachu typically isn't, the best character to fight, especially with Ike. But whenever it comes down to it, I would say them being at ledge is probably the spot you need to take advantage of the most. So, let's say what they did was something such as they would, some habits might be like rolling in, for example, and then rolling in and jumping, and they would do like jump neutral B. So, this is how you would kind of implement practicing that. So, what we would do is we would go to whatever it is. So in this situation, it'd be ledge options. So we go here to ledge options, and then we are going to want to turn on the ones that we notice our opponent doing. Again, let's say it was roll and jump, and then just for fun, we'll mix in get up attack. So now, this Pikachu CPU, anytime it goes to ledge, is going to do one of the three, whether it be roll, jump, or get up attack. So, we are going to try to practice to position ourselves in a way that can cover all three. Or even if not cover all three, pressure the opponent into doing one over the other. So for example, you see how the Pikachu is get up attacking, right? I was in a space where rolling would be uncomfortable, get up attack would miss, so you notice that the CPU did jump. So let's take another situation. Cover high, let's see. So now we notice that the Pikachu is recovering high, which actually a lot of Pikachus do. So now we cover jump, and it would have covered get up attack. So now we're just ledge trapping. But you can practice using such tools like, if you were the Ike main in this situation, you could practice using such tools as Nair to try to cover get up attack from a safe spacing and potentially roll in. You could use forward air to catch them jumping, or also catching them doing get up attack with later hit. Using situations like that to try to make setups for your character are very important. I co-main Cloud and Sephiroth. So for me personally, I like to use a training mod pack to try to force situations that I know will happen. For example, me charging neutral B at ledge with Sephiroth, and then forcing my opponent to jump or roll in. And trying to punish those with either forward air or pivot grab for the roll. Situations like that, and just practicing them in training mode, can be very, very strong. And they can be very, very useful as well. So keep that in mind. And it's not just for ledge trapping either. You can do it for situations like covering ledge, right? Let's say your opponent, they like to jump out of your combos a lot, right? Or air dodge in that situation. So you want to try to practice combos that are situations that put your opponent into a frame trap scenario. So for example, if I if I force my opponent to, let's do mistack option for example. Let's say my opponent always did roll forwards. So a good frame trap you could do, or yeah, a good frame trap you could do, right? Is if you had your opponent on ledge, or on a platform, I mean, and they're in a situation where they were going to tech. So this is one I do with Cloud a lot. You can force them to kind of get in a situation where they virtually have no option. A good example of this would be if you had a setup to where they landed on platform, they were forced to tech, and you did like Ike up smash. This covers the entire platform. Same with up smashes like Ridley's, or with Cloud, I like to do like landing dare above to try to combo into back air, for example. Situations like that are also really good. And then frame traps, of course, which just like with Pikachu, baiting options like that air dodge, or you could do stuff like nair, fair, get a combo going. And then, of course, there's going to be breaks in your combos when it's not true, and then forcing them into a situation where they have to respect a different option. So, like right there, you do nair, right? Nair is really good for Ike, because you can wait for the air dodge, you can throw an attack out like that, it kill, be true, at a lot of percents, and it sets up with a lot. It's also really slow too, so, or it lingers a long time, I should say. So most attacks that linger a long time are going to be better for setups such as those, especially ones that combo. Again, like nair, I would say Cloud down air, Byleth nair, attacks like those. Their hitbox stays out for a good bit, and it's a good combo tool. Alright. Next part I'd like to move into is the spacing element of it. So a big thing that people will get the training mod pack for and not necessarily do enough is spacing. And I'll see a lot of players, they will use the spacing solely and only for stuff like sword characters, or swordies, whatever you like to call them, or maybe specific attacks like Bayonetta back air, for example. When in reality, there are so many good spacing options that are with attacks that aren't necessarily like those that you could be using them for. Like Bowser neutral B at ledge for a ledge trap situation. Donkey Kong down B at ledge. Even stuff like turnip, like grabbing turnip and stuff, kind of keeping a distance around your opponent. And I think this is a big issue whenever it comes to people starting into the game too. So I'll show an example of that now. Now this mainly correlates with keeping a general spacing from your opponent. As you know, from where I'm at, Shulk's max range is probably from where he is to about, I'd say here. That's probably about his max range. Where Falcon's is much less than that. So in situations like this, I don't think enough players focus on keeping an emphasis of always having a spacing. By that I mean like players will want to always land on their opponent, or they will always want to like come down after they get attacked, land on them, and they'll always want to like overextend with stuff, and it's just not what you want to do, especially all the time. It's okay to use it occasionally as a mix-up, but in terms of using it as like your primary go-to, it's not. So here are some ways you can kind of combat that. I talked I talked to some players at Rise and Grind about this as well. A big thing that you'll notice is, again, I used to do the same thing. You'll you'll have a character like this, right? And you're going to be playing like up here, or you're going to be landing right on top, right? Shulk clearly outspaces you, clearly in this situation. But at the same time, you kind of land on it. Maybe it's like a zone off. Maybe you just don't think about it too much. But you know how much scarier it would be for Shulk if you kind of kept this distance from him and then wait for a whiff punish scenario? Like maybe he overextends with a fair, or he does a lot of early Shulk players. They'll do side B neutral. They do that, and then you get your combos refined, and that's when you capitalize. Stuff like that. So that's a big thing. Not only like, I guess, the normal spacing in terms of like spacing your attacks, but also keep spacing for your opponent's attacks. And I think the training mod pack really can help with that. And the reason I say that is it visually shows you the hitbox. It visually shows you how big an attack truly is. Because sometimes you'll see an attack and you won't expect it to be as big as it is. One that I still to this day don't expect to be as large as it is like Donkey Kong Fair. It's so long, or back air even. And with a character like Cloud, I can't afford to be getting hit by those too many times. So practicing scenarios such as those are also very important. Alright, and that goes about over the main ideas of what I wanted to talk about, so please leave any feedback that you can. Yeah, thank you.